Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back to Big Spruce Farm. If you're new here, I'm George, and it's not much of a farm. It's more of a property, but we're working on it. So I just drove up last night. I'm only going to be here for a few hours today. I don't have a lot of time. I got to be back in Baltimore for work tomorrow morning. But what I need to do right now is I need to get a few sections right near the front gate cleared, because hopefully in the next week we are going to have a well service right where that stake is, drill a well. We're going to actually have water here that we're not toting in ourselves, which will be nice. After talking with them, they said the best solution was to put the well right here between the building that we're turning into a cabin and the barn, so that we sort of split the difference and you could run water lines to either one. That is not the sort of ultimate end goal for this property as far as water and wells. This is just, sort of the first step. We chose to get a smaller, like a shallower well drilled down here because it was less expensive, and the logistics are pretty easy. It's very close to the entrance to the property, so it's easy for them to get their vehicle in. But right here, we've got a bunch of hedges and a couple of dead trees, and that is right in the way of where they need to swing the rig in. So the guy's like, I really don't want to tear up my hoses and the back end of my rig getting it in here. If you could push that out of the way. And luckily, we got the D6 right here. So that is sort of our first task for today. We might push over some other stuff. I mean, once you get into a bulldozer and get it fired up, you just need to push some things over. That's what I find anyway. All right, so I haven't really driven this bulldozer much, and I know I'm kind of slow and probably look super amateur to most of you guys that have run big equipment before, but I feel like that's a pretty decent job. I've only driven this thing twice, and the last time I drove it, the first time I drove it, I made a giant mess. The last time I drove it, which was only for maybe a half an hour, I made kind of a mess, but it wasn't quite as bad as the first time. And this time, I mean, I just took my time and was really, really careful, but this is just scraping the top. I mean, this is exactly what I needed. I just needed to be able to get those bushes moved back. There's actually a giant berm here that holds the water that comes off of the mountain into that stream bed when it gets really heavy. So I can't push too far, but I'm definitely gonna clean up all this anyway. That's gonna be for another day. But right now, I've got everything pushed back. You know, I don't know what that is, that 10, 15 feet, I guess. Plenty of room for that truck to pull in, and you can see right there where that wooden stake is, that's where the well's gonna go. So he's gonna pull right in here, back right up to that stick and into the ground. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm gonna count that one as a win. Also, I don't think you guys saw it because it was sort of off camera. I pushed out this honeysuckle bush and this little tree that are here. Yeah, I actually think I'm gonna cut that one down. That one's not too big and it's leaning away from the barn, so it should be a pretty quick work. This one I gotta trim up real quick because I can't get the tractor out without this being cut up, but that's no big deal. I've been wanting to get all of these trees next to the barn down. This one, I need to get up on the barn roof and cut some of these branches out of it, and then maybe have somebody give me a hand because it's leaning into the barn. So that's gonna be for another day, but this needs to get done real quick so I can get the tractor out. And our next order of business is gonna be just to give everything a quick mow, because we wanna keep this short and dry so that the drill rig doesn't have any issues whatsoever getting in here. So that's next. well, I have a limited amount of time today, so I may take that other medium-sized tree down, but the first thing I need to do, because it has to get done, is I need to get the tractor fired up and I need to cut this grass real quick. So that is next. Hopefully, last time we were here, the tractor was giving us some problems. It took us days to get it sorted out and get it running again. So hopefully it fires right up. Let me, hold on. I've got too many things in my hands. I'm carrying a coffee. I got my thing here. Come on, tractor. Do the business. Get a little bit of gas in here. All right, I'm just going to assume this is going to start right up. Let's see what we got. All right, well, that's pretty good. The two main tasks that I set out to get done so that we can tell the well guy we're a go are finished. Tractor started up pretty easily. Did the business, put her away. We've got this brush pushed back a little bit on the entrance here so that the drilling rig can get in without snagging anything. We've got this plateau area all trimmed back nice and tight to keep it dry. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this today. It's nice when things work well. I don't even think it's noon yet, which is awesome because I need to get right back to Baltimore. Christine is flying in from New Hampshire this evening. I need to pick her up at the airport. So no rest for the wicked. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to cut this tree down. I feel like I could get it cut down and trimmed up in the next half an hour. Let's see here. It's been a super hectic last week. We've been actually all over the East Coast, from Maryland to Maine to New Hampshire, and today we're back at the farm and we're waiting currently on Robert's well service. The weather has not been fantastic this past month. But we've been on the books with them for probably 30 days now, but every single day it just seems like there's big thunderstorms, and he's worried about getting his rig stuck, getting up our little hill here and into the meadow where we're getting our well drilled. So we finally talked over the weekend and decided that this was it. We're going to try to do it regardless. It rained yesterday. It has not rained today, but it's super foggy today. So he should be here probably in about 10 minutes. We arrived about an hour early, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything works out today. right, guys, well, that is going to be it for today. There's our new well. It doesn't look like much, but now we have water. We just need to get a pump and electricity run to that pump, and then we'll really be in business. So you know, it's not the most fantastic place out of necessity, but it'll work. It's certainly out of the way of the 2 planned driveways, and we'll just have to modify things a tiny bit to accommodate where the well housing sits now. But yeah, overall, great experience. Randolph well and pump service, those guys were fantastic. If you are in the Ithaca area, definitely give them a ring and let them know that Big Spruce Farm sent you. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. If you like this video, please do. If you haven't already, subscribe, and we'll see you guys the next time here at Big Spruce Farm.